Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Real Al TV. I'm so excited to be doing this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time now. Real Al TV is a multi-genre channel. Every episode we're going to be talking about obviously different genres, different topics. We're going to be taking what I call field trips to certain locations that we talk about, if accessible. Today's episode, I got a double whammy for you. We're going to be talking about the Amityville house, which I really didn't want to because so many people do it. But being that I live like 8 minutes from the house, I said, all right, we're going to do it. People on TikTok asked me to do it. We're also going to be talking about and then visiting the house of the original Long Island Serail Killer, Joel Rifkin. These two guys, between him and Defeo, two sick puppies. So other than that, andiamo. So it was November 13th, 1974. A 23-year-old man named Ronald Defeo, a.k.a. Butch Defeo, walks into Henry's Bar located on Merrick Road and Ocean Avenue in the shopping center. And he walks into the bar and says, "You got to help me. I think somebody shot my mother and father." Now, everybody in the bar turned around. They were kind of like laughing it off a little bit because they knew who it was. It was Butch. He's a jokester. But after seeing the seriousness on his face, they all piled into his car, made a right onto Ocean Avenue, second stop sign, 112 Ocean Avenue, and pulled in the driveway. And we all know that's the infamous Amityville house now. They parked the car, and Ronnie said, "I'm not going in." So all of his friends rushed into the house. When they came out, they had this crazy look on their face because they just saw 6 people of his family that they knew murdered. At first, the police put him into protective custody because they thought it could have been a mob hit because his mother had ties, her father, his grandfather, Ronnie's grandfather, had ties to the mob in Brooklyn. So they put him in protective custody until they started talking to him a little bit more and saw that he was full of a little bit of pressure. He caved and he admitted that he killed his family. So a year later, George and Kathy Lutz and her children move into the house. As we all know, they only lasted 28 days. They claimed all this crazy stuff happened. They claimed that the wall started oozing. They saw a pig with red eyes out of the window. They claimed the front door went flying off, like it just exploded off the hinges. Crazy stuff that was very hard to believe. But after 28 days, they left. They left all the furniture there, and they never looked back. Now, this is where I like to throw my opinions because in an interview in the mid-2000s, Ronnie Defeo claimed, he changed his stories a lot, but he did make a little bit of sense because when they found his family shot, they said that the oldest daughter, Dawn, did have a little bit of gunpowder on her hand. But at the same time, she was found shot the same way everybody else in the family was shot. So he claims that he killed the parents, but Dawn killed the children. But I don't know, it's a little nuts. None of the bodies were moved. There were no drugs in their system. The whole story is crazy because he shot them with a .35 Marlin. You know how loud that is? And nobody heard one shot. All they heard was the dog barking, which to me is absolutely nuts. The stories that the Lutzes were saying were all fiction. Well, not fictional. They were just amplified by a trillion. Ronnie Defeo claimed he never got it, but he was offered $80,000 to go along with the story. For instance, the ooze coming out of the wall was the fingerprint dust from the police when they, were fingerprinting the house. Then the pig's red eyes was the neighbor's cat that would jump onto the windowsill. And, cat's eyes from the reflection, you see their eyes, they shine. Also, in the movie, there's, in the basement, where he's knocking down the wall and everything, there was a red room down there. And they believed that was the most haunted room in the house. One of the little girls that used to hang out with the girls said that they just painted the room red one day. That was it. There was nothing to it. So do I think the Amityville house is haunted? I don't think it's haunted in that way. I think that, yes, there's definitely bad energy in there. But like I said, we're going to be visiting, take our little field trip there. And it's nighttime, spooky, and let's go. So this is the site of the old Henry's Bar, which Ronnie Defeo walked into. And he said, "I need help. I think somebody shot my mother and my father." Those are the doors that he walked through. Let me get a closer image. This is it right here. These are the doors that he went through. And that's inside the bar. And now it's B&B Fish and Clam. Okay, so that fateful night, he must have parked in one of these spots right here. They all jumped in the car after he told people in the bar that somebody shot his mother and father. And then they continued out of this parking lot right here. You gotta excuse my windshield. It's a little dirty. We had a lot of snow the past day. We got fucking Hammer driving. All right, Hammer, let's go. So they made it right onto Ocean right here. All right, come on, Hammer, speed it up a little, guy. So, not too far. The house is not too far. I'm guessing they definitely ran through this stop sign. But we won't, because there's police everywhere around here. All right. Told you guys I would do it at nighttime to make it a little more spooky, but it's beautiful with all the Christmas lights. So they raced all the way up here, coming up to this stop sign right here, and then Ronnie dipped into his driveway right on the left, and the infamous Amityville house is right here. Oh, they got it decorated. How cute. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're in front of the Amityville house. They actually decorated it pretty nice. What is that? Oh. And anyway, so this is the front of the house right there. The windows that look like eyes used to be. All right, I'm going to show you where Ronnie dipped in the driveway with his car. Right over here. And that's the original location of the light pole. Used to have a squirrel on top of it. I'm going to try to edit it in the video. And then, if you notice behind these cars is the boathouse right there. And then this is the front of the house where the Lutzes said that the door blew off the hinges. And of course, sadly, those are the steps where they took the bodies out of. So, it's a beautiful house. Okay, so let's get into this sick puppy. Joel Rifkin is usually referred to as the original Long Island Serial Killer. He was adopted at 3 weeks old. He had learning disabilities, but he was taken in by a loving family. When he was young, his father committed suicide. In 1987, Rifkin was arrested for offering money to an undercover female police officer posing as a prostitute. Rifkin was an unemployed landscaper, committed his first murder in 1989. He murdered a woman by the name of Heidi Balch. He dismembered her in his mother's detached garage in their house in East Meadow. Rifkin would usually murder his victims in the actual house when his mother and sister were gone, but dismember them in the garage detached from the house. He would then discard of the body parts all throughout New York and New Jersey. So in the late 80s, early 90s, Rifkin would go to Manhattan and pick up prostitutes, and he wouldn't kill them every time, but there'd be certain times where he said he would snap and just beat them to death and then dismember them. There was no internet, so he would just make his rounds around Manhattan and pick up random prostitutes. In 1993, he picked up a prostitute by the name of Tiffany Brashani. Brashani had a pimp, a musician pimp by the name of David Rubenstein. She told him that she would be back in 20 minutes. And when she didn't return, he called the police. He gave them Rifkin's car description, any possible detail to help locate Tiffany. Unfortunately, Tiffany was a victim of his murder and dismemberment. He actually kept her body in the detached garage for a couple of days before he decided to move it. So he wrapped her in a blue tarp, put her in the back of his Mazda pickup truck, and left the house. On June 28, 1993, Rifkin gets on the Southern State Parkway in Long Island, and he's driving westbound. A cop notices that Mr. Rifkin doesn't have a license plate. They implemented a stop, but Rifkin didn't stop. He took off, slammed into a telephone pole. Now, when the state trooper got out and started walking to the car, the state trooper said in an interview he knew right away that there was a dead body in there. He could smell it. They then arrested him, put him in the back seat, and he asked for air conditioning. And they said that he was just so monotone, like so cool, calm, and collected. He just got found with a dead body in the back of his truck, and it was like he wasn't bothered at all. Rifkin didn't care. He even drew the investigators a map to show where all the bodies were in New York, New Jersey, and he was pretty pinpoint on the bodies and where they were. He got 203 years in jail for the murder of 9 women. He claims it was 17 women. And when the Gilgo Beach murders happened, investigators visited him in jail to see if he was a part of any of the bodies that were found or if he could help them with a suspect. But nothing panned out, and we all know how they caught Rex Humerman through pizza and DNA. But we can also do a story on him because, once again, I live on Long Island, and it's a crazy place lately. I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me on my first episode. Please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Let's go to Rifkin's house. Love y'all. So now we are arriving at the location of Joel Rifkin's house. A lot of snow. This fucking guy over here. Right there is where his victims met their fate. And right there is where he chopped up that poor woman, Tiffany Brashani. I think that's how you say her name. Right in there. He was a sick, sick puppy.